Hey folks, welcome back to the Homestead. So if you've ever wondered what it actually takes to get a home off of the grid power and become more energy independent, then this may be the video for you. One of the biggest misconceptions I see in the solar world and with homesteads and off-grid living is everybody talking about how many solar panels they have, but very few people actually talk about their battery storage. The truth is, the solar panels only make power when the sun is shining. So battery storage is what's going to keep your lights on after sunset, during storms, give you energy backup, and through the stretches of cloudy weather. So today we're adding a Wattcycle 314 amp hour, 48 volt battery to our existing solar system. Currently, I have about 30 kilowatts of battery storage. And that has done a fair job of giving us backup power. So when the grid goes down, we're able to flip a switch in the yard and run off of our solar batteries or our battery storage and keep the homestead going without firing up a gas generator. Now, my experience has been is that 30 kilowatts is not able to get my home and homestead the way that I have it set up through the night. It doesn't do a good job of trying to run the dishwasher with a heating element in it or trying to keep the hot tub going. And are these things that can all be adjusted? Absolutely. But what I want to do is expand my battery system to where we do not have to make sacrifices along the way if not necessary, right? So today, I'm going to install this Wattcycle 314 amp hour battery. They did send this battery to me to test, and we're going to get it installed. I'm going to show you what it takes to install that and how simple that is, or maybe not so much. And let's go from there. All right, today we're going to go ahead and update the solar system. We're going to add a large battery to this. Wattcycle sent me this 48 volt 300 amp hour battery, and we are going to hook up. It's actually 314 amp hours, so it's 16 kilowatts of storage is what we're going to add. It is almost actually it's just over 50% of the storage that I currently have. But in order to hook it up, I went ahead and charged it completely. So let me show you. This is nice because it's got a digital display on it, which is pretty neat. Let me go. So we are at 100% charged right now. And let's see here. Get back out. It's got a touch screen. Alrighty. So we are going to get ready to tie this into the rest of the solar system. And I am super stoked. I had to order some larger bus bars and allow some more space on that in order to be able to hook this into the main system. So you see, before we get into this too far, I want to address something that many folks have been misled on. I have many acquaintances and even friends who over the years have had solar systems installed on their home, financed through a company. Get aside from all of the finance issue and all of that, what I have discovered, because I have spoke with these companies my own self, is that they do not offer a battery backup system. The way they are selling this is they are selling it to you as you're going to save on your power bill. And you may save on your power bill, but you're going to be making a payment on these panels. And several like-minded acquaintances and friends over the years think that if I have solar on my house, now that means that I am energy independent. And the truth is they're not, because that energy independency is tied up in your battery storage. And those solar panels were installed with an inverter of sorts where they are selling their power directly back to the grid during the peak times. So right now, like I would be selling, if I would be selling back to the grid because my panels are in full sunlight and my batteries are fully charged. But what their systems do is their systems pull from the grid at night and during storms and outages And that is how they run their home. They're pulling back from the grid, the power that they need. Well, when you're off grid, you have to have batteries in order to pull from overnight or during storms. And that is exactly what I am doing here. I'm setting up my own grid where I do not have to rely on the power grid to supply me that power. Now, excuse me, what they run into is they have these panels financed, okay? And then they end up in an ice storm or something that knocks out the power. And they are out of power. They are out of power because they are relying on the grid still to produce and to provide the power to them. Without a battery backup, your solar panels are just about worthless. It's an unfortunate truth. They are especially, let me rephrase that. They are worthless if there is cloud cover or it's dark out and they're not producing, okay? You may get some sort of power off of them during the daytime, but you have no resource to be able to pull from them when they are not producing. So that is why I'm expanding my battery bank. When you go to power down the system, I leave this manual open and I leave it out so that we can go through it as needed. There's my complete shutdown and my complete startup procedure. And so we just leave this here for when we need to service or do something with the system. It is easy to view. All right, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna tie this into the main system, and right now I've got 6 of these server rack EG4s, life power. These are each 48 volt, 100 amp hour. So essentially I'm gonna add 50% more battery storage to this. We're sitting at about 30 kilowatts right now. This will put us at 46 by the time we tie in this 314 amp hour. And as you can see here, my bus bars are a little small, meaning they're completely full. So I've got some larger bus bars that I'm going to put on here, and we're going to tie this into the main system. We're going to leave it communicating with the EG4 server rack batteries. And since this has its own BMS built in, we're going to try and just tie it into the same bus bar and work the system like that and expand it. And this should allow me to flip the entire homestead over to solar power and run it like that. So this is a huge step in the right direction. Don't mind my wires. I got so much swapping and trying things instead of running everything in conduit and not being able to access the wires as I need. That is why they're like this. They're all labeled, and you worry about your side of the fence. How about that? So this is what I've got going on, and we're gonna get this battery tied in, get this bus bar swapped out, which means I got to power down the whole system, turn off the solar PV input, turn off my AC output, turn off all my batteries, and tie it in, and we'll go from there. All right, so I'm starting out here with disconnecting my PV input. I've got 4 strings of my panels coming into my EG4 6000 XPs. And so I'm going to disconnect the PV power, and then I am going to follow the procedure in the manual for disconnecting and turning off these inverters properly. It is imperative that you turn these off and re-energize these inverters exactly as the manual describes, or you will blow a capacitor in there or something along those lines. You can ask me how I have done this. This is from experience. So after that's done, the system is all powered off, and I have checked it with a multimeter, and then I am swapping out bus bars and getting ready to be able to tie in this other battery. All right, there we have it. So the Wattcycle has been tied in to these EG4s. It's got its own BMS built in, so I'm not worried about that. My EG4s are communicating with my master inverter, and right now it shows that we are at, let's see here, we are at 100% charged. But I also have a monitor on the front of this Wattcycle, so I can keep up with it separately, and it shows that it is 100% charged as well. So Now begins the test. I'm going to go flip over the knife switch in the yard, and we are going to run the entire homestead off of solar now that we have 46 kilowatts of battery storage tied into this. So some of you do not understand what a battery, what the purpose of it is with the solar system. And perhaps one of the better ways to compare this would be kind of explaining it as though it's a gas tank. Okay, so I have a Toyota Tacoma right now, and it's got a 19-gallon gas tank. Well, I get 12 miles to the gallon, so I'm going to get about 250 miles per tank before I need to stop and refill, give or take. Okay, well, I came out of a truck that got 10 miles to the gallon. However, it had a 52-gallon fuel tank. So even at 10 miles to the gallon, I was getting 520 miles to the fuel tank. So think of batteries like that. This is a 314 amp hour battery, this Wattcycle that they just sent out. And each of these server rack batteries are 100 amp hour batteries. So they are 1/3 of the power storage capacity of this Wattcycle. They're way easier to move around. The Wattcycle is. Now, do these server rack batteries serve a purpose? Absolutely. You could start off with a server rack and add batteries one at a time. But for the price of the Wattcycle now, you're getting all of this in one package. So it's actually coming out to be cheaper per watt hour of storage than buying server rack batteries individually. So while I'm walking over here, I'll tell you, the last time I ran our average usage, we were running about 50 to 55 kilowatts a day here on the homestead. So this gives us almost a full day of backup power where we're not bringing in any PV input. And that's, you know, this is still where a generator can come into play. We'll have to fire up the generator and let it run the charge inverter and recharge the batteries, but this should put us at a point now where we can run way more often off of the solar and not have to go back and forth. So this is set on utility power right now, and down here they call it generator on this, but that is actually my solar input. And when you flip this knife switch, you want to go quick, and most of the time you won't even have the clocks inside the house reset. So you just go like that and it's all done. And now we are running the entire home off of solar power. All right, so like I was showing you, when you flip this breaker quickly, the knife switch, it does not even reset the clocks in the house. So where we're at with this right now is we've got 46 kilowatts of battery storage tied in for the home solar system. That gives us about a full day of power to run everything as normal. Now, if we look outside and it is overcast, we are going to conserve power, same as we do when we're in a drought and we know that rain's not coming for a little while. So we conserve. What that should put us at is we should not have a problem running a full day off of our battery bank. That means the central heat and air. Well, central air, we heat with wood. Central heat is purely just a backup. That means central air. That means running the well pump, which is also the submersible pump. Sorry, I call it a well pump, but it's a submersible pump in our rain storage tank. Keeping the office climate controlled and just running life as normal. But what we're probably not going to do is we're not going to try to run an electric dryer during that time. We're not going to run the dishwasher in the middle of the night where we're not bringing in solar power and it's having to use the heating element to dry. So things like that. We're just going to be conscious of what we're doing. We're not going to leave on extra lights in the house. Hopefully. We got kids, so it'll probably happen. But this will allow us to rely more and more on the solar panels and less on the grid power coming in. Worst case scenario, I got to go out in the yard and flip the knife switch back. But what I'm trying to do is minimize that. I'm trying to take the steps necessary today to be able to practice and implement being off grid completely and running my homestead as I normally would. So that when the day comes that the power is not working, whether that's for an ice storm, that's happened in Oklahoma. It's rare, but it does happen. Or whether a tornado takes out a local distribution center for the power, or down in the valley, it takes out multiple electric lines that feed our area. Have these things happened yet? Nope. But this is part of being prepared and taking care of my family. To me, that is different for everybody, but that's where I'm at in my life. I'm trying to maintain normalcy to the best of my ability. So the real test on this is going to come in 30 days, 6 months, or whatever as we use this. It's not an overnight process, but so far I'm super pleased with it. It hooked up easy, very user-friendly. Their customer service was great, easy to deal with. They helped me walk through settings that I might need to change on my inverters and things like that. I really like the screen on it. I know that a lot of this newer stuff has screens, and so, you know, my older batteries didn't. But I do enjoy the fact that there's a screen on it and I can go in there and check the percentages. Right now, today's day one. You know, we're just going to take this one day at a time and see what we can do. The longer I can run off of solar, the more money I put back in my pocket, and allows me to be able to stay here at the homestead and raise my family more, have to travel for work less, and improves my quality of life, brings you all more content, and is good for everybody. So there'll be a link to this down below. There should be a discount code. They've been great to work with. They had fast shipping. If I can answer any questions, you need me to run a test or anything like that, please reach out, leave a comment down below, and I'll do what I can to help you out. Until next time, folks, Mountain Wizard out. See ya.